Over the past almost decade now, one thing that has always been a staple in my bag, whether it's digital film, whether it's Canon, whether it's Sony, whether it's Fujifilm, APS-C, full frame, regardless of what it is, I always have a 28mm effective focal length lens or a 28mm fixed lens camera system in my bag. Reason being is because to me that is the best way to tell a story. That is just the way I am able to process things easier. I'm able to layer things easier. It makes compositions easy for me. It's something that I've just worked with for such a long time that I'm comfortable with. And over the past year, actually, maybe even 2 years, I've used the 28mm from Canon, 28mm from Sony. If you go back 3 years, the 20f2, which is an amazing, fantastic lens. I've gone with manual focus 28mm and adapted those from Fujifilm. I've used the 18mm f2. I had a Leica Q. There are so many cameras that I've had, and I'm searching for the perfect 28mm lens or 28mm camera. And a few weeks ago, I stumbled across the Ricoh GR3. Now, when I got this in hand, the only thing I knew about it that really intrigued me was that it has a 28mm effective focal length lens and that I could fit it in my pocket. I put nothing else to it and I thought nothing else of it. And then when I took this with me on a trip recently that many of you know about, with me going hunting and using it since, I, for the life of me, thought this is it. This is my Goldilocks zone. This is the perfect 28mm camera. It starts up fast. It has snap focus, which is basically zone focus. It's the quickest shooter I've ever had. I was able to get it with this nice little viewfinder. The lens is sharp as hell. I can crop a lot. The resolution is great. It has IBIS. It has all these things in it that I look for, and all the characteristics of a 28mm lens that I really just salivate over. And this by far is the perfect everyday carry camera, except that it's not, because it literally has just one glaring issue. The issue with this Ricoh GR3 actually happened very recently, and it was happening whenever I first got it, but luckily with MPB, who I purchased it from in like new condition, I was able to work with them to be able to send it back and explain to them that I wanted to use this during the holidays. I was able to get a direct overnight shipment of another one back to me. So this is actually my second copy with the same issue. Now the Ricoh GR2 had an amazing format. What it did was it had a nice D-pad, and then it had exposure compensation little dials up here on the back. But Ricoh and Pentax, Ricoh Pentax and all of their genius decided let's change what already works and put in something that no one asked for. And by doing that, they were able to come up with the perfect camera by adding in the IBIS, by adding in the dust shake off and the sensor mechanism, etc., and then brick it by putting in this scroll wheel. The issue that I'm having with this Ricoh GR3, and it's the reason why I'm, number one, having to work around something so much, number two, missing so many shots as of now because it got really bad for a little bit, and number three, on the fence about keeping this and looking to return it, but MPB has not gotten back to me in time, as this is my second unit that has done this, is this scroll wheel back here. Unfortunately, whenever I try to use my user presets or shooting in manual, which is what I prefer to do, this scroll wheel actually helps you set the ISO. Now, you don't have to do it like that. You can set it in auto ISO. Once you set it in auto ISO, it changes to exposure compensation. Now the issue with that and changing to exposure compensation is it's jumping everywhere. And because of that, I had images that were over and underexposed. And what I mean by jumping everywhere, turning on the camera and barely touching and tapping this had the power to move my ISO from a base of around 100 all the way to 640 at times. It had the power to move my exposure compensation from 0 to plus 3.07. There were multiple times where this continued to happen. Now I know what a lot of you are thinking. Hey, just go ahead and shut it off, or go ahead and turn off the back wheel. You can't. You can't turn off the back wheel. And even right now as I'm scrolling and it looks like it's getting darker, you see it's jumping around, it gets darker, it gets brighter, because it's not communicating correctly. They're said that there are times it gets dust in the sensor, or not the sensor, in the electronic mechanism that speaks to whatever functionality this is. They tell you put in some electronic air duster, or just scroll the wheel for about 2 to 3 minutes each direction, which I have found works for me for a time. But it's really disappointing that whenever I pull out a camera that I praise so highly because I was able to pull out, I just took a photo, and take a photo like that. Let me show you how quick this is. I just took a photo. So being able to take a photo that quick, and the fact that it's in snap focus and I know it's going to be in focus, is completely destroyed and ruined when I have images that are 4 to 5 stops overexposed than what they need to be. Highlight weighted metering with this has now become useless. Manual mode has now become useless. And I know you're thinking, a lot of you GR3 users, you can always use the front dial to edit to change your ISO, to change your etc, etc. But the issue is, if I barely move this either way, and listen, it's a small camera, I've got large hands. And so my thumb or my palm is going to hit this, especially whenever I'm holding it like this, trying to get up and shoot really quickly, just take a photo, especially whenever I'm doing something like that. The issue is I'm tapping that regardless. I don't understand what Ricoh thought everyone needed a scroll wheel for. I have no idea why. And even more, if you're going to implement that, I have no idea why you did not implement something better. Why did you create something that had the ability to get not only dust in it, but your contacts to be separated so easily? It was a cheap move, number one. Number two, the issue with it is no one complained about the Ricoh GR2 and the exposure compensation buttons in the back and the D-pad. And when I say no one, I mean no one. Let me break this down for you. Ricoh did not add any functionality by putting in this scroll wheel. They literally just replaced where you have certain functionality. What's even worse is I actually made a video that I had to delete and I didn't publish it because I was blaming myself for the missed images. And I was like, man, I really fucked it up. It was the camera. And so I'm sitting here blaming myself like I'm not using it right. And it's the damn camera. And it's just disappointing, man. I traded the Leica Q and I was like, this is the greatest thing that I could have gotten. And it turns out it's not. It's actually a dud right now because this damn scroll wheel. So this is just my disappointments. And listen, a lot of you guys may defend Ricoh. A lot of you guys may support me with this, but there's no doubt in my mind. This is the greatest camera to have on you every day. This is the perfect everyday camera. But man, it is the worst thing because of one design flaw, and it's the scroll wheel in the back. And you know, I really hope that Ricoh and Pentax are able to get their head out of their ass, and I really hope they're asking users, you know, what do you want? And I really hope they're listening that this was such a horrible idea, and don't bring the scroll wheel back. Put back the exposure compensation buttons and put back a D-pad. Listen, you guys, I really want everyone to hear this and every camera manufacturer to hear this. No one ever asked to remove a D-pad ever. You can put in your joystick, but we never asked to have a D-pad removed. No one in the history of cameras. I am tired of the minimalism. If Leica can put a D-pad, you can put a D-pad. I am tired of the minimalist take. Stop trying to be minimalistic. If it's to save money, stop trying to save money. Fujifilm, taking off the mode dial on the front of the XC4 was the dumbest damn thing you could have ever done. Pathetic move all around. That was a pathetic move all around. And the fact that build quality tanked makes it literally just pathetic. It's a great camera, but so pathetic. And Ricoh, coming back to you. Why are you adding stuff that no one asked for? Why? Camera manufacturers, ask yourself, what the hell is wrong with you that you guys have a team of people who are making design changes, and I'm telling you right now, I don't care if they take photos. They don't know what the hell they're doing. And it's obvious when Canon put in the swipe up top on the EOS R, and that's how you control ISO. What a dumbass move. When Fujifilm decided, let's go away from the D-pad because people want a tiny ass joystick that hurts your finger and that is slow and you know is going to be pushed to failure. What a dumbass move. When Ricoh decided to do this right here with the scroll wheel, what a dumbass move. Sony continuing to make the most ergonomically uncomfortable grips, and the fact that if you have any of their large G Master glass and you have a hand that's bigger than the size of an infant, your knuckles are rubbing against the lens. What a dumb ass move. The fact that Nikon just, I have nothing to say wrong about Nikon, but still, what dumb ass moves. And I just have to point that out. Like, listen, you guys, don't let these people off the hook. Make sure to be commenting on your B&H pages. Make sure to be commenting and leaving Google reviews. Make sure to leave reviews about the cameras you have and put your gripes, because guess what? That's all they care about. They care about their 4-star, their 5-star, and their 3-star ratings going down a little bit. They care about seeing a cons list. They care about not getting a 5-star in every damn thing. Y'all, I hardly give a 5-star to anything. And that reason is because not everything is 5-star. Stop caping for your camera company. Stop putting on and defending your camera companies. Listen, it's okay if your camera company makes a dumbass decision. You wanna know why? Because everyone does it. But if you don't call them out for it, you continually get dumbass shit and then you keep defending it over and over and over again, and then who's a dumbass in the end? That's the end of the rant. I'm tired of this, Ricoh. What the hell happened with this? And MPB, you better respond, because dude, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Hey, will it work? Will it not work? And me having to continue to spray dust in here to get it to work correctly. What a hassle. So that's it for this. Super disappointed in this camera. Oh man, what went from being my favorite camera to now being something that, dear Lord, was a liability. Missed a whole bunch of shots from Christmas Vacation, so ended up just using the X-T3 that never fails. Fujifilm for the win all the time, but man, so hurt by this. I should just got an X Pro 2 and just an 18F2. Anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good one.